The room is quiet, but your chest is not. It tightens without warning. Your breath shortens. Your mind begins scanning for danger that is not visible. You check your pulse. You check the clock. You check your thoughts. The body moves first. The story follows. This is where anxiety lives. Not in the future. Not in catastrophe. In the split second between sensation and interpretation. A sensation rises. A small surge of adrenaline. A flicker in the chest. A shift in breathing. Harmless. Ordinary. Human. But your mind has been trained. It does not ask what this is. It asks what this means. And meaning is where the spiral begins. You were never afraid of the sensation. You were afraid of what you believed it signified. Loss of control. Public humiliation. Collapse. Death. Madness. Exposure. Anxiety feeds on interpretation. Not in danger. Somewhere in your past, your nervous system learned a rule. It learned that uncertainty equals threat. It learned that discomfort equals danger. It learned that being seen in weakness equals annihilation. The body adapted. Your heart learned to race before you could think. Your muscles learned to tense before you could decide. Your breath learned to shorten before you could reason. This was not weakness. It was precision. Anxiety is not a flaw. It is a survival system that has become hypersensitive. But hypersensitivity does not appear randomly. It forms under pressure. Pressure to perform. Pressure to be composed. Pressure to not fail. Pressure to not burden others. Pressure to appear normal. You learn to suppress the signal. You learn to override exhaustion. Override grief. Override anger. Override fear. You called it discipline. You called it strength. You called it maturity. Your nervous system called it overload. So it began sending louder messages. Panic attacks are not explosions. They are alarms. Sudden. Intense. Non-negotiable. And here is the first distortion. You believe the alarm is the threat. You try to fight it. Control it. Breathe it away. Outthink it. Distract it. Escape it. The more you resist, the more your brain confirms that something is wrong. Resistance becomes evidence. Your body says, see, even you think this is dangerous. So it increases intensity. Heart rate rises. Vision narrows. Dizziness creeps in. Thoughts accelerate. You interpret again. This is too much. I am losing control. Something is wrong with me. The second distortion emerges. You begin fearing the fear. Now anxiety is no longer about work, relationships, or health. It is about anxiety itself. You monitor your body. You scan for symptoms. You anticipate the next wave. Anticipation activates the same circuitry as actual threat. So the body prepares again. You live in preemptive defense. And preemptive defense is exhausting. Burnout follows. Not because you are weak. Because you have been on internal guard duty for years. Many believe anxiety is caused by a fragile character or overthinking. The comments of your own mind say the same. You are too sensitive. Too emotional. Too dramatic. But sensitivity is not pathology. Sensitivity is detection. The real issue is not that you feel deeply. It is that you were never taught how to allow what you feel. You were taught to manage perception. To appear stable. To appear capable. To appear calm. So you built a persona. Competent. Rational. Reliable. But the persona has a cost. It requires constant regulation of emotion. When anger rises, you suppress it. When fear rises, you smile. When exhaustion hits, you push harder. Suppression does not erase emotion. It internalizes it. Internalized emotion becomes physiological tension. Tension becomes chronic arousal. Chronic arousal becomes anxiety. You are not anxious because life is unbearable. You are anxious because your body is tired of holding what your identity refuses to feel. Notice the pattern. Sensation. Interpretation. Resistance. Escalation. Fear of recurrence. Hypervigilance. Exhaustion. This loop does not require trauma to form. It requires repetition. Every time you react to anxiety as if it is dangerous, you reinforce the neural pathway. Your brain is efficient. It strengthens what you practice. If you practice fear of fear, you will become skilled at it. But there is a deeper layer. Anxiety often attaches to identity. If you see yourself as fragile, your brain searches for proof. If you see yourself as broken, every sensation confirms it. Cognitive bias feeds physiological reaction. Now add modern life. Constant stimulation. Constant comparison. Constant evaluation. Your nervous system evolved for brief threats. You have turned life into continuous assessment. Emails. Messages. Performance metrics. Social visibility. Social judgment. Your body does not distinguish between social rejection and physical threat. Rejection activates the same circuitry as pain. So you remain alert. Always ready to respond. Always ready to defend. And here is the paradox. The more you try to eliminate anxiety, the more central it becomes to your identity. It becomes something to master. Something to conquer. Something to fix. You wage war on your own nervous system. War creates tension. Tension sustains arousal. Arousal sustains anxiety. Control is the hidden accelerant. You believe control will calm you. But control requires monitoring. Monitoring requires vigilance. Vigilance sustains threat detection. Threat detection sustains anxiety. There is another distortion. You think panic can harm you. Your body feels intense. Your thoughts feel catastrophic. Your chest feels tight. But panic is a surge of adrenaline. Adrenaline is designed for survival. It cannot stop your heart. It cannot suffocate you. It cannot drive you insane. It peaks. It falls. The suffering comes from secondary fear. Fear of what the surge means. Fear of being seen during it. Fear of not escaping it. Remove the secondary fear, and the surge loses fuel. This is where most coping strategies fail. Distraction avoids sensation but reinforces danger. Reassurance temporarily soothes but confirms vulnerability. Avoidance shrinks your world but strengthens the belief that you cannot handle it. Anxiety feeds on avoidance. Every avoided situation becomes labeled unsafe. Your world contracts. The body remains ready. The mind narrates danger. You mistake temporary relief for progress. But relief is not resolution. Resolution requires a shift in relationship. Not with circumstances. With sensation. Instead of asking, "How do I stop this?" ask, "What happens if I let it rise?" Instead of bracing against the wave, allow it to crest. When you stop resisting, the nervous system recalibrates. It learns that sensation does not equal catastrophe. This is exposure at its core. Not exposure to danger. Exposure to discomfort without interpretation. When a panic surge rises and you remain still, something profound occurs. The brain updates its prediction model. It sees that no collapse follows. It sees that you survive without escape. Prediction error weakens the fear loop. Repeated enough, the system quiets. But this requires tolerance. Not endurance. Tolerance means allowing sensation without narrative. Endurance means suffering while waiting for it to stop. One builds resilience. The other builds resentment. There is also grief hidden inside anxiety. Grief for the version of you that believed safety required perfection. Grief for years spent bracing. Grief for opportunities avoided. When anxiety softens, grief surfaces. Many retreat at this stage. Because grief feels heavier than panic. But grief is honest. It does not distort reality. It reveals it. Underneath hypervigilance is often fear of judgment. Who taught you that being anxious is weakness? Who rewarded composure and punished vulnerability? You internalized those voices. Now they speak through your own thoughts. You are not fighting anxiety alone. You are fighting internalized expectations. Perception control operates internally as well. You curate how others see you. Calm. Productive. Unbothered. The cost is constant suppression. Imagine releasing the need to appear invulnerable. Anxiety loses social leverage. When you no longer fear being seen in discomfort, half the threat dissolves. Anxiety is deeply social. It anticipates evaluation. It anticipates rejection. It anticipates failure. Remove the imagined audience, and intensity drops. But the imagined audience often lives inside you. An internal critic, scanning for flaws. That critic formed to protect you from external attack. Now it attacks first. Silencing it does not work. Understanding it weakens it. It is not your enemy. It is outdated protection. Much of anxiety persists because you misinterpret arousal as inability. A racing heart before a presentation. A tight chest before a difficult conversation. You label it panic. But it may be activation. The body is preparing to perform. When you reinterpret arousal as readiness, performance improves. Studies consistently show that labeling stress as helpful reduces physiological strain. The meaning assigned to sensation alters outcome. You have more influence than you realize. Not by controlling the surge. By altering the narrative around it. Anxiety becomes pathological when you define it as intolerable. When you define it as survivable, its intensity shifts. This is not denial. It is recalibration. You do not eliminate anxiety. You integrate it. Integration means recognizing it as a signal, not a verdict. Signal that you care. Signal that something matters. Signal that your system is active. But signal does not equal command. You can feel fear and still act. Each time you act while anxious, you rewrite the script. The body learns that fear and action can coexist. Avoidance teaches the opposite. There is also the illusion of total safety. Many seek a life without anxiety. Such a life does not exist. Growth requires uncertainty. Uncertainty triggers arousal. The goal is not zero anxiety. The goal is flexibility. A flexible nervous system can activate and deactivate. A rigid one remains stuck. Rigidity forms through chronic suppression and chronic avoidance. Flexibility forms through exposure and acceptance. Acceptance does not mean liking anxiety. It means removing resistance. When resistance falls, intensity follows. Consider the phrase, "This cannot hurt me." Not as blind reassurance. As a physiological fact. A panic surge is uncomfortable. It is not lethal. Remind the body gently. Let it crest. Let it fall. Time passes whether you fight or not.